Hello, my artist friends. I'm coming to you today to talk about mandala paintings or drawings or marker drawings or pencil drawings. I lost my pencil somewhere. It's around here. You can use just about anything you have at home. If you have different colored Sharpies, you can do this with that. You can do it with markers and then add water over top of it and see how it changes. This one I did last night with watercolor. I'm not really a fan of this one, so I'll probably end up working over top of it, either watering it all down and seeing what else I can do with the page, but I'm not going to waste the paper. On Google Classroom, I had posted mandala embellishments for you, just so you have some ideas of different things we can do when we're drawing these. You're going to see me kind of repeat a pattern that I have seen done through a class that I'm taking online right now. But these are great options. It gives you a lot more options than maybe even I will give you. So I just wanted to throw that out there for you so that you can see what you are capable of doing. Obviously, if you have watercolors, you can use them. But I also want to show you today how you could use just regular Crayola markers to get a watercolor effect on your paper. So since I know a lot of you don't have a compass at home, I want you to find things that are round. Bottles, anything like that. Even a toilet paper, paper towel tube can work. A plate will work, be it a plastic plate, a cup, a bowl, whatever you have around the house. And we're going to start out by, and this is just a lid to a candle, tracing around. And little kids, you might need some help, somebody to hold that in place for you. That is totally fine. Something else that works really well, though it might be the same size as the other one, is tape. You could do the outside and the inside and kind of give yourself two circles so we have some place to start drawing. If you don't have anything at home that's circular, don't feel like you have to. I did this free-handed. You can see it's a little wonky, not quite perfect, and that is totally fine as well. I just want you to use what you have and make the best of it. That's what we're all doing right now. So I'm actually going to freehand. I don't have a bigger circle here. I'm going to freehand one big circle the best I can. See, it's not perfect. It's okay. We're going to make it happen anyway. So what I want to do first is just kind of show you how, if you use markers, what you could end up doing. So I'm going to start out with a circle in the middle. And then I'm just going to add some flower petals just to get myself started, okay? Now, switching colors makes it more interesting. It's not necessary that you do that. But repeating simple patterns, simple lines, really makes these amazing. And then I want to see how creative you guys can get with adding other details and lines. So I'm going to start here. And I'm just rotating through three colors because I just picked up three cool colors. So purple, blue, and green. And I'm just going to continue on drawing. So adding triangles inside of triangles really steps that up. You can also do things like add lines. I find this process very calming, very relaxing, and just kind of meditative, especially with being anxious and feeling a little overwhelmed lately. This has really helped me kind of calm myself down and not feel so overwhelmed by everything happening in the world right now. So I'm hoping that you guys can also feel that way and not stress too much about all that's going on. I hope everybody's staying well out there. I really miss seeing your faces. All of my family and friends that are also following along on my YouTube channel, I hope you guys are staying healthy, practicing that social distancing. I know I was at school the past couple of days to pass out lunches to students. It was really nice to see a few of you stop in and grab a lunch, kind of catch up with us, ask questions. Please feel free to shoot me a message. Email is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. and ask any questions you have about this project. You can erase the pencil lines from this. It's not necessary that you do that though. I did get marker on my hand, so it's smearing a little bit, so you might want to make sure it dries. This is watercolor paper, but it does not mean you have to do it on watercolor paper. Remember, in my first video, I said you can use an old composition notebook and do whatever in there as well. That's where I did my tree and my flower from the first video. But I've done other mandalas in here, and I took pictures of them. I will post on Google Classroom. Let me see if I can find one really quick. There's one, not that great, but you can do them in here. The paper wrinkles a little bit if you're using watercolor, but you'll notice like I skip a page in between so that when it does bleed through, it doesn't get on my other work, especially Sharpie, okay? So that's just a quick little pointer there. I'm going to add a few more things here. Repeating patterns is always awesome. So I'm going to do this floral and triangle thing, but I'm going to alternate colors. Let's see. I'm just kind of trying to think through this. I did not draw this out ahead of time. I'm drawing with you as we speak and just kind of going with the flow. Sometimes it's easier to turn your page rather than trying to work around it. So I'm just going to move this as I go. It's not perfect, but it'll work. I'm going to go back to purple, and then I'm going to add those triangles in again, like I did in the first section, but I can fit a couple more inside of it. Now, they're all going to be different sizes because, like I said, I did not draw this out first, so it's not perfect. If you want to do it in pencil and use a ruler or some kind of straight edge, go for it. If you don't have a ruler at home, some options for things that you can use as a straight edge are the edges of notebooks. Whoops, something just fell. The edge of anything that's plastic would work really nicely, like a notebook, like a mat, if you have like a cutting mat or like something you chop food on at home. Those are also excellent, excellent, excellent options for straight edges. I need you to think outside the box and really try to figure out what it is you can do at home to make do with the supplies you have so that you're not fussing with your parents trying to get them to buy things, because you really don't need anything from the store in order to do this. I'm just going to keep going. I hope everybody is having a wonderful Friday. And you're doing great. It seems to be a pretty nice day outside, fairly warm. Hopefully you can get out for a walk. I know Mr. Williams is sending out PE exercises for you guys to do, so make sure you stay on top of that as well. It's good for your brain, it's good for your health. Just gonna add in a couple little things here. And then I'm gonna show you a little trick I like to do, which is take a little bit of water right over top of this. Some of my older kids did this earlier in the school year, and watch it turn into a watercolor technique. Very easy, very simple, and makes things so, so cool. If you wanted to, you could just go over top of the lines. And I even thought about spray bottles. If you have those, you could just spray down the paper and kind of move your fingers across it to make sure that the water is kind of evenly spread out. Or I'm even going to try this. Just drop the water on with your finger and use your finger as a paintbrush if you don't have one. There's so many different options for this. So many different ways to go about it. And if you're using something like a bigger foam brush, you could just use the corners so that your corners are what is touching the paper rather than using the whole wide edge and really pushing down. Those hold water really well, so you could do a lot of different things with that. I'm going to speed this process up as I finish with the watercolor. Please remember while it's wet not to pick it up, anything straight up and down in a vertical manner. It will end up dripping all over the place. Your parents will not appreciate that. But as you're working with this, you can see how the watercolor is starting to bleed in the middle. We can redefine this later if you want to take a black marker and go over it after it's dry. You can leave it like this. I think they kind of have a nice quality when they are just wet too. I hope you guys have fun with this, and I will speed up the video now. Okay, as I'm finishing this, I just wanted to give you a few pointers. Number one, you don't want to draw it out with marker and then go back a few days later. Usually it's harder to make the marker move across the paper when you add water to it, so that makes things a little more difficult. If you don't like this kind of fuzzy, blurry look, you don't have to add water to it at all. I just wanted to show you a different way to use your water or your markers to kind of look like watercolor if you're getting bored with just markers. Lastly, you can go back over this, add other details in, either use a black Sharpie. I have a Sharpie pen here. You could go back over it in pencil if you wanted to add stuff into it. And I will kind of show pictures of what I do after this is dry. I'm not going to let it dry right now. But there's also where you could just put color all over the page, add water to it so you kind of have a watercolor background, and then add your mandala over top. So I started doing one like this just the other day. Obviously, I'm not finished. So I added color to my page in a very blotchy, splotchy way. And then I went back and added rings around it to kind of help me define where my rings are going to go in my mandala. And then I started adding in black Sharpie lines. And I was just alternating between my Sharpie pen and the fine point Sharpie just to kind of see what I could do. Obviously, I'm not finished, but I just kind of wanted to show you that little work in progress there as another option and opportunity. Now, if you do have watercolors at home and you wanted to actually do a mandala with watercolors, you can do that as well. That's what the first image I showed you was. I will show you one more time. Sorry, let me find it here. That's what this image is from. I just did this with watercolor and just kind of zoned out a little bit last night and calmed down before I went to bed. And it really helped me kind of relax and get into, you know, good headspace so that I could fall asleep easily, which has been difficult. I want you guys to be creative though. Come up with as many different ways as you can. If you're scared of messing up, if you're going to use markers and the water and stuff like that, it's really about experimentation right now. Experiment, experiment, experiment. And now if you're short on paper, your pencil's going to be your best friend, draw it out first, trace over your lines, and then add water to it if you want. You can always fill in those spaces with different colors. There are a zillion different ways to do this, and there is really no wrong answer. So try your best and have fun. I miss you all, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.